All right, so I want to show people some of the parallels with EverQuest Next and Landmark. I kind of touched on that a little bit the other day, but man, there's an awful lot of similarities from Kilson being fired to the vision that they sold everybody, to Landmark, and now this 247, which I understand. The way that they're marketed is completely different. But in essence, it's the same thing. They're going to be building the game from that and testing, using that as a testing ground, etc. So basically, it's pretty much the same thing as Landmark, and it's pretty striking how I was received this same exact way on Reddit. You're going to see the MMORPG subreddit come against me, and I think there might be some of the Landmark Reddit. I don't know. I can't remember. But in my previous video, I need to clear up. I did call somebody a little bitch. I said, oh, they were lying against me. Well, no, what they actually did was they singled out when I said something naughty, but they didn't care when other people did. So, yeah, just favoritism. It's been a while since I've seen this video. And when I grabbed the video the other day, I didn't sit through it and watch it. I just went to the point where all that stuff was listed, hit the mute button, and let it roll. So that's my bad. I actually did call them a little bitch. Because I'm watching this back, I'm like, oh, I did do that. Okay, yeah. Well, that makes sense, because back then I had a lot more, a lot more, shall we say, fire that I didn't keep a lid on. But, yeah, hopefully this helps clear things up for some people. Because, like I said, it's really striking how similar this situation is.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, EQA Nostalgia here, and today I want to talk to you guys about Landmark going free to play. I am here to warn people not to get into this game, not to give Daybreak Games any of their money. Do not buy any microtransactions. Do not support products from this company. Now, in order for you to fully understand where I'm coming from, you need to understand what has transpired here over the past 3 years. When Landmark was first announced, everybody was really hyped about it. It was something that we had just seen the presentation for EverQuest Next, and Dave Georgeson did a fantastic job with that presentation. To this day, I still hold that as one of the best presentations I've ever seen. They sold us on a dream, and they did a phenomenal job with just illustrations, okay? It was just amazing. And Jeremy Soule came out, and they shared some of the music that was going to be in the game, and it was full steam ahead. Everybody was hyped. Everybody hopped over, and they supported Landmark because they wanted the funds to go to EverQuest Next. They bought into Landmark because they wanted to support EverQuest Next. Let's be honest, that's what 90% of us or more did. And I've heard the debate before, oh, well, you bought into the game and you got the game, you got what you paid for. No, I really don't think that's the case, because this was marketed, it was bottled and sold as a promise of what was going to come. And a lot of people wanted to see, what is EverQuest Next going to look like? And they wanted to get into the game world and run around and see an example of what that was going to look like, because Landmark was kind of the foundation of that, and it was sold as the foundation of EverQuest Next. And at this time, EverQuest Next was something that was in development previously and was canceled. So people were hyped about EverQuest Next for a few years before Landmark even came on the scene. So this is something that was building up for years. Ultimate hype train. Fast forward a little bit, and Sony Online Entertainment is acquired by Columbus Nova, who then changes the name of the studio to Daybreak Games. At this point, people were concerned because Columbus Nova had apparently been noted as one of those studios, or one of those companies rather, who buys up properties and pretty much destroys them, sells them off for whatever they can sell them off just to make a profit. They don't give a shit about the legacy of EverQuest. They don't give a shit about the legacy of any SOE product or IP at all. So at that point, people that were really down to earth, they knew that we were in trouble. I consider myself to be a glass half full kind of guy for the most part, and I was willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. However, once key members of the staff started to get terminated, at that point, that's when I became concerned. Now, Daybreak had a roundtable discussion. I may or may not be able to find that and put some of that up on the screen for you guys, where they wanted to address our concerns. Everybody was concerned because Dave Georgeson was fired, the guy who sold us on this, okay, and several other key staff members were let go, people who had worked for SOE for years. So when they were terminated, it ruffled some feathers, and it was a serious concern. Well, they had a roundtable discussion where they wanted to put all of our concerns to rest. You could see on their faces that what they were saying, their eyes were telling a different story. At that point, that's when I knew we were fucked. Now, to be fair to the remaining staff, I'm pretty certain they were obligated to say whatever their employer told them to say. They were most likely under some sort of NDA or some sort of contract. I don't know. In order to keep their jobs, I'm sure they had to sign something, and they had to go along with the charade. But at that point, everybody in that fucking room knew that it was over. You could see it on their face. They were telling us one thing, and as I stated, their eyes were saying the complete opposite. And they really didn't look like they were trying to hide that at all. It's like they knew that some of us would pick up on that vibe, and it was like looking at a funeral. Everybody in there was stone-faced, and they looked like they had just lost their best friend. It was at this point where my videos started to take more of a negative tone. Before, I was very optimistic and very hopeful for the future. I started asking some tough questions, and I started wondering how come we weren't seeing anything. What is really going on with EverQuest next? Now, as a side rant, I had been posting my videos to the EQ Next subreddit for years, since the beginning, since we first heard about this game. And I noticed an interesting phenomenon that started to happen over there. It went from a very outgoing community, a very mature community where people were sharing ideas, bouncing ideas off of each other. You could share your content over there, and you were guaranteed a great discussion. And it slowly started to turn into a toxic cesspool. And my videos, my more negative videos, were not well received. Nobody wanted to hear the truth. Nobody wanted to see the writing on the wall.
All right, and real quick, let's fast forward to today and see what's going on here. Oh wow, look at that. That's word for word. It's, man, I gotta tell you, if you guys were in my shoes, don't you think you'd be having some deja vu over this shit? How would you feel about it, furthermore, if this was you? And this guy, he's like, it's interesting you were supporting this, but, you know, what happened? You're shitting all over it now. Well, because just like EverQuest Next and Landmark, I saw the writing on the wall. And at a certain point, like I told people the other day, you got to pull out your axe and cut ties. See, they just shit all over it. I mean, come on. Then I posted over here, right? It was getting upvoted. It had 7 last time I looked. And they took it down. And they said they were going to ban me. They're like, we're going to ban you if you post again. So you know what I did? This is what I did. Right? And of course, people got to come in here and mock. And then over here, what happened with the MMORPG subreddit? It got taken down, didn't it? It sure did. And they said I was breaking rules that I did not break. And I've proved that I did not break these rules. But this person right here, who was obviously hired by them, okay, or he's a buddy of theirs, he made sure that this disappeared. And you can clearly see that if you take a look at the 2 different accounts, and they're saying the same things. It's the same exact wording pretty much. And he deleted his tracks. Hello. Hello. A typical user is not going to do that. Just a normal person is not going to delete their tracks like that. They're going to leave it up because they don't have anything to hide. And he probably said to himself, oh, wow, this looks awfully similar. He might connect it. Let me delete this one. Now, another thing to note is that this isn't really going anywhere. And they know it. Which is why I keep getting taunted over on the MMORPG subreddit, and then the comments keep disappearing. Either a moderator takes them down or they delete them. You can see that, right? I've said for a while that I suspect these guys are using sock puppet accounts to vent out on the community. There's other people who have said it as well. I'm not alone. There are others who believe the same thing. And why? Well, because other companies have been caught doing this. Other developers have been caught doing this. Publishers, what have you. This is nothing new. Sock puppet accounts, they're not new. It's a thing. I don't know if you're aware of that, but they'll try to do it to help boost PR, to try to make the naysayers look bad. And yeah, it's not really a crazy conspiracy. It's something that people have proven has happened over and over again. And as somebody said in Nathan Napalm's chat, they're not excluded from that. Visionary Realms is not excluded from that. Of course they would do the same tactics. Okay? Now, I've asked a lot of other YouTubers, like 7 or 8 of them, to help me expose this and get the word out, and they're not doing it. Nathan was the only one who would listen to me. I wish he would do a video covering this. But, he doesn't want to burn bridges, I understand. But it still sucks, man, because it's not being heard. And they know it's not being heard. But, I think they've buried themselves anyway, so.
And it just became incredibly toxic over there, to the point where even the admins themselves began to attack me and talk trash to me, and eventually ended up banning my account outright. I am not in the habit of making videos that are popular opinion just because they're popular, just for likes, just for views. I keep shit real here, and keeping shit real on that subreddit was not the most popular thing to do. I was completely ousted from that community. And the way that it happened is what really struck me. One of the moderators over there had actually taken the side of somebody who said I was toxic and I was just a piece of shit. And he came along and was like, yeah, he's toxic, he's a piece of shit, I'm gonna ban him. And that's exactly what they did. Now, at that time, I had prepared a video about this to talk about it, to expose what was going on over there with the admins and how everybody was just kind of living in their own little fantasy world. I reviewed the video, I deemed that it was childish and was beneath me, and I did not post it here because I honestly don't like to bring drama to people unless I absolutely have to. It was something that was personal, and I didn't want to look like a whiny little bitch. I kept it to myself, and I moved the fuck on with my life. The only reason why I mention it now is because it's relevant to what has happened to this game and to the community. Some people want to believe what they want to believe so fiercely they will attack anybody who challenges their views. They want to live in their own fucking bubble, and that's exactly what that subreddit did. Well, that subreddit has now shut down and is no longer accepting conversation, which is not surprising because EverQuest Next was abandonware. It was a fucking pipe dream. It did not come true. And, I'm going to be a little arrogant here, and I'm going to say I'm one of the only people who was saying this shit on YouTube, who was getting this information out there and asking, hey, what's going on? How come we haven't seen anything? Because I did that, I caught a lot of shit for it. Quite a bit. I wasn't engaging in the circle jerk that was taking place over there, and I guess that makes me an asshole. Well, if you take a look at what's transpired over the past few months, you can see that I was absolutely correct, and that everybody who was going against what I was saying was obviously either in denial or way more hopeful than I will ever be. I had seen something similar to this happening with a game called H-Hour with a indie studio called SOF Studios, so I had been down this path very recently, and I started to see the signs that I had seen with that game. However, I moved on, and I started just posting other videos about different things to other subreddits, and a couple of the individuals who did not like me over at the EverQuest Next subreddit took it upon themselves to follow me around and continue to downvote everything that I posted and talk shit about everything that I posted, to the point where I actually had to change my username just to try to get rid of these fucking trolls. I don't know what it is with me, but it seems like I have a troll magnet attached to me. I don't quite understand it, but it's not the first time it's happened before. Many of you are aware of the fucking clown that follows me around here and downvotes everything on the first or the end of the month. I haven't seen him in a while, though. He hasn't been around in a while, but I picked him up on the Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare forums. So it's something that I have a talent for. I don't know. I don't quite understand it. But nevertheless, I caught a lot of shit saying what I thought was the truth, and, well, what turned out to be the truth. So there's a big fat fucking I told you so for that subreddit. At any rate, that's enough with my personal vendetta. I had to get that off my chest. if you take a look at what's going on with Daybreak Games right now, basically they're doing the microtransaction thing, and they have been for a while. And EverQuest Next has all these micros set up. EverQuest 2 does at this point. And with Landmark, that's exactly what they're going to be doing as well. They're going to unveil this game on the 10th of this month, and they're going to unveil it as a free-to-play game. It only took them fucking 3 years to make this a free-to-play game, okay? They knew a while ago that EverQuest Next was a no-go. Yet they kept this fucking game up and continue to reap the profits from it. Not a big deal, you might say. Well, it's a completely different game, you might say. Well, fuck you, I say. Because this game was sold on a fucking promise. And yes, it is up to people to do the research and find out that EverQuest Next was canceled. Fair enough, I'll give you that. But nevertheless, they said this game was going free to play when it was announced. 3 fucking years later, it's finally going free to play. Once they milked it for every dime they could get out of it, once people stopped actually buying it, now they want to pull you in for their microtransactions. And, you know, if you take a look at H1Z1, they've done a lot of shady shit with that game as well. Basically, Daybreak Games is taking all of the intellectual property that SOE had owned, and they're just perverting it for every last fucking dime that they can get out of it. And the best thing I can say to you is don't get caught up in that bullshit. Learn from my mistakes. I've been here following this shit from the beginning. Do not get into this game. If you want to download it because it's free and fuck around with it, whatever, go ahead, feel free. You might have fun with it. Personally, I didn't really have that much fun with it.
You'll have to excuse all the F-bombs. I did drop an F-bomb yesterday, or the other day, and I'm not proud of that. I was angry, but, well, there's been a lot of changes. And just take a look at the outro to this video to see what kind of changes I'm talking about, because I think some of you are going to be shocked with this image.
So there you have it, guys. There is my 3+ year adventure with this absolute fucking train wreck. Let me know what you think of it down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to rate it thumbs up. And if you're new here, I ask that you please subscribe. I thank you all for watching, and I look forward to seeing you all in my next video.
Well, that's a stark contrast. I'm several pounds lighter, too, and a saved man today. So if God can save that guy, he can save you. God bless, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next video.